Hi, you guys. You know that thing we do, that team light skin, team dark skin thing we do? Well, how do you expect for people to treat us with equal rights when we don't even treat ourselves equally? This refers to respectability politics. Respectability politics is prominent in our community today. It refers to the attempt by marginalized groups to police their own members and show their social values as being continuous and compatible with mainstream values, rather than challenging the mainstream for its failure to accept difference. In our community, for many, it's common for people to police our black community's culture and deny their own blackness. What's wrong with being black, guys? Is this an attempt to fit in with our society norms? Or is our double conscious reality merging into one, a product of a white supremacist culture? Today, I'll discuss the advantages and the disadvantages of respectability politics. Suddenly, questioning the ideology of the image of the intimidating black people has become obsolete. Instead, we're taking on the responsibility of teaching our youth to be less black, stripping them of their identities, in order to be less intimidating to our headmasters, white people. Is this solving our problem as black lives in America? According to Lawrence Otis Graham, the answer is no. This has never and will never protect us from discrimination. In an article he written himself, he discussed the huge mistake he made when he decided that by teaching his children to abide by America's hegemonic rulings, he was doing them more good than harm, when in fact, he was shielding them from the inevitable. End quote. We sent our kids to our diverse New York City private school and outfitted them with the accoutrements of success, preppy clothes, perfect diction, and that air of quiet graciousness. End quote. However, what he was wrongfully doing was stripping them of the ability to be themselves, to be black, guys, just to simply be who you are. This is an example of respectability politics, conforming to the norms of society, doing whatever it is to please the dominant culture. And by dominant, indeed, I mean white culture. Teaching our children performatives also learned behaviors, such as acting white, talking white, those types of things. Not to wear hoodies. Always greet and say hello when walking into a place of business or merchandise. Be soft-spoken. Suddenly, being loud and obnoxious makes me a threat to the world. The advantages of respectability politics is the idea that by fitting in and conforming, most people would aim to please the dominant culture by gaining socioeconomic status, education, wealth. For example, choosing to live in the neighborhoods and not attributing to negative behaviors such as robbing, stealing, and killing. Sometimes by changing the way you dress or talk, you do escape the typical black male, black female stereotypes. In our society, the dominant culture has deemed black men as young thugs if they're seen wearing hoodies. Whereas if a white man was seen wearing the same hoodie, he's just dressing down, or this is a casual day for him. According to Frederick C. Harris of the Dissent magazine, these findings highlight the yearning for economic uplift in the black communities, which suggests why the politics of respectability has such mass appeal across the social classes. Even though respectability evolved as an elite ideology, it operates as common sense in most of black America. Indeed, it even has its own lexion. The word ghetto, for instance, which a generation ago was used to describe poor, low, segregated neighborhoods. This is now used to characterize the unacceptable behaviors of black people who live anywhere from housing projects to an affluent suburbs. Economic power is a needed development, of course, and one that can be used to leverage political power. But the politics of respectability has been portrayed as an emancipatory strategy to neglect of discussion about structures, forces that hinder the mobility of the black poor and working class. This leads to disadvantages. Disadvantages of respectability politics are that ideologies support victim blaming. Victim blaming, well, that typically if you didn't act loud and obnoxious, then you would be less likely to be seen as suspicious. Or that girl is ratchet simply because she listens to hip hop or trap music and she decides to wear fashion that's associated with it. For example, Bobby Shmurda, a new hip hop artist, was recently targeted for his music related to drugs and violence. It was assumed that he was associated with murders in his neighborhood because he spoke about the things he was used to growing up in a poor Brooklyn neighborhood. He is currently incarcerated awaiting trial. This turns the finger on black people for embracing themselves and being comfortable doing so. Example, if you were not wearing that hoodie, then the police could not see you as suspicious and you would not fit any type of descriptions. This helps to contribute to police brutality and oppress the black community. It controls black people and makes it hard to address issues with the normalities of the dominant culture. That does not support lives. It rather enforces it does not support black lives. It rather enforces unjust laws and discrimination, systematically excluding black people based on their race in the workplace, as well as giving them other unjust treatments, causing our community to stay stagnated. Lawrence Sisseta wrote, "All I'm saying is that I don't want to be seen as just simply one thing because my skin is black. Unfortunately, if you like hip hop and wearing hip hop clothes, even if you just stepped out of Harvard, you're still going to be stereotyped." As she discussed the disadvantages of respectability politics in Honey Girl versus Video Hottie, Black Female Sexuality and Politics of Respectability, and finally discussed in an article, The Rise of Respectability, at an event, the mayor of Philadelphia said, "If you want all of us, black, white, or any color, if you want all of us to respect you, then you had better look at you in a different way. And if you want us to not be afraid to walk down the same side of the street with you, if you want folks to not jump out the elevator when you get on, if you want folks to stop following you around in stores when you're shopping, if you want somebody to offer you a job or an internship, if you don't want folks to be looking in or trying to go in a different direction when they see 2 or 20 of you, then you had better stop acting like idiots and fools out in the streets of the city of Philadelphia." This was from Michael Neuter. So after learning the advantages and the disadvantages of respectability politics, are we still team light skin, team dark skin? Is that black guy dressed in a hoodie still seen as some thug? Or is he treated with the same dignity as a Harvard and a Yale graduate? I don't know, guys. These were just some small examples, hopefully helping you guys understand a very important topic in our society. Now that we discussed the pros and the cons of respectability politics, it's up to you to agree and disagree with the subject matter. Thanks for listening. Subscribe, like, comment, share. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you.